You're listening to The Straight Line on MRN.com, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Hey everybody, welcome to MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ralph Sheen and my good buddy Doug Herbert ready to go talk to drag racing as we put on the cover of the September issue of Speed Sport. The countdown is here. Now we put Robert Hyde on the cover. He wasn't the guy at the end of it. You can follow along throughout the countdown at speedsport.com, but it was Fast Jack Beckman.
Fast Jack Beckman got it done today. But back to Speed Sport. I sign up for your daily newsletter, right? That's a good thing. I go to Speed Sport and sign up for your daily newsletter.
You get a free issue for that plug. Thank you. That's the way to help a buddy out right there.
There you go.
Jack Beckman.
Jack Beckman clobbers him over there. He put Force on the trailer in the final at Reading, Pennsylvania. Happy to have Happy to have the guy that beat John Force coming on the show here with Jack Beckman. That's going to be great to interview him, as well as Richie Crampton, driver of the Coletta Top Fuel Dragster, took out Doug Coletta in the final. And I had when I saw Crampton racing Doug Coletta in the final, I'm thinking, I don't know. We know Connie. Connie will look at it and he say, I want Doug to win, and that car will smoke the tires or whatever. Yeah. But that wasn't the way Connie did it this time. They pulled up there and they raced.
No, and we've seen that in the past where Connie got controversial about some of that.
Sure.
Back in the day at Topeka.
Well, Connie will tell you, hey, they're both my cars. I'll do what I want.
Yeah. Team owners are a part of racing and always have been. Some people like it, some people don't like it. I like the fact they went straight up racing this time.
Oh, yeah. And it's the same thing as Torrance's do when they pulled the starting line. Yep. There's been times when I'm sure it would have been better beneficially for them to have Steve win or whatever, and they just go up there and race. The best car wins. That's Torrance.
I got to go pretty far down the results sheet to find them this week.
Man.
Wow, Doug.
Man. Well, maybe we need to talk about that a little bit later.
You worried about that yet?
I don't know that I'm that worried about that yet. I just can't imagine that, that they're that lost. How could they be that lost when they've been so good? How could they be that lost? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but
okay.
I don't see it.
So here's some interesting things to kind of think about coming out of that past weekend in Maple Grove. Maybe what's a bigger surprise to you that Beckman won in Funny Car, that there was no Torrances in the final in Top Fuel, that Crampton beat Coletta. I'm not really surprised about Jason Line. It was
coming.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's been
top speed of the meet. He won the race.
He's been pretty strong lately.
They're on the up momentum side.
What about Pro Stock Motorcycle? You like the Steve Johnson part of that? Or?
Steve Johnson going to the final. He didn't even make it into the top 10, but his bike ran really well at Reading going to the final. So congratulations.
So out of all those stories, which was the biggest surprise to you?
The biggest surprise to me, that's a lot. I don't know. Doug Coletta not winning, when you would think that would be the deal. Torrance going out first round.
I think Torrance going out first round had to be the biggest surprise for me.
Both Torrance cars going out first round after, they've been pretty much the strongest cars all year, right? They've won more races by far. I guess you're right. Torrance going out first round.
I think that is what is exciting, though, about the countdown, right? Is that
the way it is set up. It's not what you did yesterday.
Yeah, is what did you do today? And that is really, really interesting. And we're going to have a lot of fun talking about that in the next couple of segments with Richie Crampton and, of course, Fast Jack Beckman. But we also have some tires to give away, as we always do here on the Straight Line.
Hercules Tires.
Yep. All you have to do is just go to HerculesTire.com/MRN. Sign up. Every month they're giving away a free set of tires, and maybe you get free set of tires.
Free tires are the best tires, let me tell you, because we like burning rubber, and free tires are the tires that you like to burn up. That's just the way it is.
The best kind.
Yeah, the best kind. If it's free, it's me. Free tires, Hercules.com/MRN. There you go.
And guess what? The rest of the show is free for you to watch, too. So we'll have more of it when we come back here on The Straight Line.
Welcome to the Speed Sport News Center. I'm Derek Perniciglio.
Suzuki presents Speed Sport.
These are guys that you can take anywhere in the country and they can win on any given night.
Oh, what a great shot.
O'Reilly. Protect your engine with 5 parts of Castrol Edge full synthetic motor oil and a Wix filter for just $33.99. Plus, get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate. You can also earn bonus O Rewards points on Castrol Edge motor oil products right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Sunday, October 27th at Martinsville Speedway. It's a fight to the finish. The first Data 500 returns to Martinsville, part of the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Get tickets now at martinsvillespeedway.com or call 877-RACE-TIX. That's martinsvillespeedway.com or 877-RACETIX for the first Data 500. October 27th, it's a fight to the finish.
Welcome back, MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. So let's start talking about what happened and who was fast when we were dealing with the first round of the countdown up there at Maple Grove. And if you're going to say fast, might as well add Jack Beckman to that because he was and is. Jack, welcome to the show. Funny Car Points Leader, how you doing today?
Well, it's about damn time, guys.
We had your number on speed dial, Jack. It wasn't like we forgot about you. I knew you were there.
So Doug, you'll appreciate this. You know, the fans come up every race. They say, hey, you're going to win this weekend. And it's not being arrogant. I think I drive for a team capable of winning every weekend. And I said, yes, we're going to win. And Ralph, I've been wrong 18 times, but I finally got it right.
Well, what made the difference then this 18th time?
Our win light came on in the final round. I mean, you know, you look at the other. I lost on a hole shot to Robert Height at the Winter Nationals. I thought we had a great car. I thought I drove well. He drove better. We smoked the tires. We got outran. Against John Force in the Indy final, we lost by 14 thousandths. And you think that if you keep putting yourself in that position time after time after time, eventually the odds will catch up with you. And that doesn't mean that you just sit back and let the win happen. You still got to push. And it was just the right weekend. I'll let you guys ask the questions from here, but it was just, we've been good all year, and this was just a matter of beating 4 people on the same day.
Well, Jack, the rate of the way the competition is in the funny car class right now, it's unbelievable. When you pulled up there to the starting line in the final, you're racing John Force. Were you stinging from Indy, or you were only thinking about the final round at Reading?
Well, the good news is I have a real bad short-term memory. So by the time they fire the car up, you know, you're strapped in the car and you're thinking, okay, shorter burnout, the track's warm, and I can roll in staging because it's the final round. Other than that, I try not to overthink it.
Well, now you got to start thinking about Worldwide Technology Raceway, which a lot of people know as Gateway. They've changed the name, their new sponsor of the venue. And that AAA Insurance NHRA Midwest Nationals coming up. How do you think you're going to run there? What do you know about your setup for that facility?
I know we're going to win that one. How's that sound?
I like it.
Now let's see if I can be right twice. I've had great success at St. Louis in the past, and people have asked me because I've won 3 times in Phoenix, 3 times in Atlanta, I think 2 or 3 in Denver, 4 tracks of shootouts, 3 times in Maple Grove. In other words, of my wins, a lot of them seem to be repeated at the same facility. They say, well, what's the magic? What's the secret there? And I said, I don't know, because really if a team wins continually at the same place, it usually goes back to the crew chief. I've had more crew chief than Roland Leong has had drivers. I mean, I've done this with a bunch of different geniuses there. So I like St. Louis because I've won there before. But it's really going to be up to Guido and John. The great news is when you come off a win, not only is it a mental high, but it's a data high. In other words, we got 8 runs of data out of the last race. We got 9 runs of data out of Indy. When you keep going rounds and you keep getting usable data, you should keep getting better.
Hey, Jack, you just meant something about crew chiefs, John Medlin and Dean Antonelli. You've got 2 of the best there, and man, they've been to the winner's circle quite a few times. What does that mean to be working with these guys? You've been working with them now for a couple years at least, I guess. What does it mean to be working with them, and how are things meshing? Obviously, they're meshing at the right time, and from the outside anyways.
I have more wins with Medlin than any of my other crew chiefs, and I have a long list of crew chiefs. And remember, Medlin was one of the triumvirate of tuners when it was Jimmy Prock and Chris Cunningham, and Medlin stayed with me. Now with Guido, I think that's my 5th win with him. And John Medlin's a genius in so many ways. If you want to know a question about 6061 aluminum versus stainless dash 5, John will quote you all the parameters without looking in a book. Dean Antonelli is one of those guys that literally could do every single system on every car out there. He's brilliant. He's mechanical. He's logical. He works well under pressure. And when we went to warm up for the semifinals, we had the 3 bolts that hold the whole front drive on the front of the motor broke off. Boy, that's panic time because we didn't have time to change the engine before the semis. Guido came out there. John came out there. The guys got all their tools out. I literally am already sitting in the car ready to warm it up. I had nothing to do but bite my fingernails and start singing to myself. And then to watch these guys push the panic aside, get the tools out that they need to. Remember, we already are at the tail end of a normal service, and now an emergency has come into there. And they played it perfectly. They got the bolts extracted. One of them was stripped out. We found an oversized one. We got it loosely threaded in. We put tape over it so it wouldn't fall out. And Guido said, as soon as we come back from the semis, we're changing motors. And it's that sort of aptitude and attitude and mental approach that it instills a ton of faith in you as a driver. I shouldn't say faith. Faith's the belief in something you can't prove.
Confidence.
Right? It instills a ton of confidence in you as a driver. It's like, man, we got this.
So, Jack, when you're on a roll, man, you are on a roll, and sometimes you can do no wrong, but you also know that you have to be careful what you put on social media. So I'm just scrolling through your Twitter account here, and you had to do field trip duty today, but you somehow finagled a trip to the Dragster Museum. How'd that happen?
Yeah. Well, yes.
Dude, that's win-win, isn't it?
So, my daughter's 8, and her school, this is their field trip day, which I guess that means they didn't feel like paying the teachers to come to work today. I don't know how the hell that plays out, but it's like you're responsible for your own kids today. So, I'm at the LA County Fair, which ironically is also the site of Pomona Raceway.
Right.
So, literally, I needed to find a quiet place to make this phone call. I am sitting in the management offices of the NHRA Wally Parks Museum right now.
That is well played. That is winning all the way across the board when you got dad duty like that, and you can.
He's got Larry's office at the museum, I guess. That's good.
I am sitting in Larry's chair right now. Yep, I spent my $50 to get the girls to go on 3 cheap rides. I'm over it.
Well played.
Hey, Jack, tell us, the way your car was running was incredibly consistent. I mean, every run, and the reaction times, you got better every round. And then in the final, a 28 light, like that's almost telepathic, dude.
Well, yeah, but keep in mind, this, every reaction time should come with an asterisk. And I wish the announcing team would dive deeper into this. When a driver rolls in, it makes the driver's reaction time look better because the car doesn't have to move as far before it prints the reaction time. But it makes the car's ET slower by almost that amount. It's not a smart way to race. You chance losing lane choice for it. And the only time to me that it makes sense is in the final round. Roll it in to shorten your lane. There is no lane choice for the next round. So let's talk about the car first. Maple Grove is an odd duck. They've moved it around on the schedule quite a bit because it can be too cold and too rainy, and we don't get to run there. So they keep moving it earlier in the season. Well, guess what? It was cold and rainy when we got there. So Friday, the track was what should have been gorilla conditions, except for it just felt different. And it's nobody's fault. It's just the amount of glue and prep and moisture and rain and pausing they had there. And session 1 kind of stunk. The fans just didn't see a whole lot of good nitro runs there. We missed it. We came back session 2, and it broke a clutch lever, which gives it too much primary weight, smoked the tires. We're like, we're 0 for 2 on Friday. We come back and run low ET of the first qualifying session Saturday, come back and run a 393 with me shutting off early on the second run because the car burned a piston. So it's like, okay, Saturday we got a handle on this. Sunday we had a bracket car. That thing was what 390, 392, 391, and then I rolled it in deep in the final, which cost us some ET. It would have run a 393. And what happens is when you have a car that runs that well, it's easier to drive well. I know people say, well, John Force is a great driver because he drove on crappy racetracks with old beat-up cars, and I get that. It's because he got to practice a lot of driving things when the cars ran 650s at 230 miles an hour. That's hard to do with today's cars. When you have a car that's unpredictable, when you're racing in conditions where it's a one-lane racetrack, it's hard to put that out of your mind and do everything the best of your ability as a driver. I didn't have that issue. I had a great hot rod that was repeatable there, gives you a ton of confidence every time they light that car up on the starting line.
Jack, you talked about how you would stage differently for the finals. Tell us a little bit how different you stage than, I know sometimes it's going to be depending on who you're up against, but just
not for me.
No? Okay. So how would you approach, let's say you go through a full day like you did in Maple Grove. Is it staging exactly the same the first 3 rounds and then different in that final?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what, Ralph, you're kind of right. I do stage a little differently against John Force because he won't pre-stage first and he won't stage first. So what I'll do is I will wait long enough that he knows that I know that he's taken too damn long, but I don't mind going in first. Indy, I said, nope, he's going in first this time. You got to change it up against John because he is the master of gamesmanship up there. And if you don't give it back to him once in a while, he's going to own you. But in the first 3 rounds, I stage as shallow as I can. I pull up till I barely tickle that stage bulb, and that means I've got 14.5 inches of a running head start before the ET clocks start, and you're going to get the best possible ET. Now, it also means I got 14.5 inches I have to roll before my reaction time stops. It's going to make it look slower, but it's not. Your job is to step on the throttle as quick as you can, not cheat the clocks by rolling in a bunch. And it cost John lane choice a couple of times. Didn't seem to matter there. Brian Karate did a great job of running down both lanes with Force's car. But unless you have a crystal ball and you know that lane choice won't matter an hour and a half in the future, why would you risk rolling it in, running a slower ET, and potentially losing lane choice? And people say, no, Jack, you're shortening your lane by 7 inches. You've got a better chance of winning. Show me a nitro race this year decided by less than 7 inches because the driver that won rolled in 7 inches at the starting line. There hasn't been one.
Well, you know, those crew chiefs, they like you rolling in shallow, I know. And I always like rolling in deep, but we just want to put the wind lights on. That's really all that matters, right?
Well, yes, and that's what Tony Pederdon says. But rolling the car in 7 inches in the second round only makes your car 7 inches quicker than the car in the other lane. If
right.
They were 6.5 inches quicker than you, then you just made your team win the race. The reality is nitro races that are 1,000th of a second at the finish line are still 8.5 inches.
Yeah.
You couldn't have stole that on the starting line. Your job is to leave as quick as you can. Rolling the car in further, to me, is an ego deal. It just makes your reaction time look like you're a better driver. I'm all about winning the race. I'm a hired driver. I can't roll in. You own the team. John owns the team. You guys can do whatever you want when you roll up there, but I think you have a better chance of winning the race by preserving lane choice.
Yep. You're 100% right on that. Jack, go have fun with your group there. Take your kids out and have some fun. Go see your Blackbird car. I know it's out in the museum there as well. And as always, thanks so much for what you do for brakes. Thanks for coming over and visiting with me every time and talking to the kids at our brakes classes that we do up here.
I love that program, Doug. And Ralph and Doug, thank you guys. And if I have a wish, I'd enjoy having this conversation 5 more times this year, guys.
Well, you don't have to pass anybody. You don't have to pass anybody in the points. Just hold on to where you are. That's all you got to do. Easy.
Exactly. All right, gentlemen. And thanks to your fans for tuning in.
You got it, buddy. Good luck this weekend. We'll be right back with more Straight Line after this.
Here's your chance to win a set of your very own Hercules tires. Go to HerculesTires.com/MRN. Simply register, and each month we'll give away one set of tires. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading mileage coverage to get you wherever you need to go, no matter where the road takes you. Register now for your chance to win a set of Hercules tires at HerculesTires.com/MRN. Hercules Tires. Ride on our street.
This is Sarah's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
Driving cross-country with 2 young children is ambitious, to say the least. Then our check engine light came on. We pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts, and they tested it. Turned out it was a faulty sensor. They referred us to a great mechanic just down the street, and we were back on the road in no time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Jeff Gordon has come from virtually nowhere.
He's one of NASCAR's all-time greats.
For the 93rd time in his career.
A pioneering champion.
Be at the right place at the right time.
The kid who took on the good old boys and changed NASCAR.
We started to go toe-to-toe from Earnhardt.
MRN presents a 10-part podcast series that traces Jeff Gordon's rise to NASCAR legend. Jeff Gordon, the colorful career of the Rainbow Warrior. Available now at MRN.com and your favorite podcast source.
Yes, coming up next, Crampton Comes Alive. I love that promo. Isn't that great? Playing off of the Peter Frampton Comes Alive.
Yeah, man.
Just saw Peter Frampton. It was fantastic.
You see everybody. I can't keep up with
to.
you. I can't keep up with you on the concert.
You had that album, right?
Everybody had
that album.
Yeah, everybody had that album.
Do you feel
Are you kidding?
like we do? Neither one of us feels like Richie Crampton does right now, because Richie Crampton is a big-time winner at Maple Grove. Welcome to the show, Richie.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. It was a great weekend in Reading.
Did you have Frampton Comes Alive, by the way, in your record collection?
I hate to say I'm a fan of Peter Frampton's music, but I don't think I ever owned that album, and I've never truly downloaded it since. But, yeah, I've heard that quite a few times, Crampton Comes Alive, and I like it.
You should get it, and I'm betting 10-1, Doug, you have it on 8-track.
8-track, man. I've got the 8-track box sitting right next to my blue suede shoes. Yes.
You had an 8-track in your old Camaro back in the day, or your Trans Am, whatever you did. Your Trans Am. I knew it.
Yeah,
T-tops and all.
Yeah.
There's no way around it, Richie.
Richie, congratulations on the win, man. How does it feel to go up there and get a win for Conrad Coletta? I mean, though, man, I see him smile on TV. That's just the greatest.
It is. You know, it's great for everyone on the team, but of course, first and foremost, it's great to do it for Connie. We all know what he's put into this sport over the years. This is his 60th year of racing, so he's not going to be able to do it forever. We all know that, and any one of us that can stand in the winner's circle with him kind of cherish that moment. So for me, coming from Australia, driving for a legend, and then winning a couple races with him has just been it's been amazing. So that's what it's all about, making him happy, and we did that on the weekend. So hopefully we can continue to do that.
You are right in the thick of this championship chase here. 54 points down, it looks like. How do we get the rest of that you need going into Gateway and beyond that? What did this win do for that team? Did you learn something data-wise, or is it just more about the momentum now?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of things just come together for us. We've had a really good race car for probably a lot longer than people would realize, and we just missed it on race day a few times recently. You know, I believe we had the best car in qualifying in Indianapolis, and just kind of made a mistake in the first round there. But sure as heck, we carried it on over to Reading, and again, we had a great car in qualifying and was able to execute on race day. So I think, like everyone that, you know, contends for a championship, we're going to need some luck going forward in these next 5. But we also need to step up to the plate, me as a driver and us as a team in general, and just go and win. I mean, we know how to win. We just got to put it all together. So it's not going to be easy, but these next 5 races are kind of what defines your season. So we're going to be digging hard.
Richie, what do you think it's going to take? How many races of these next 5 that it's going to take to win the championship?
I mean, I would like to think it's only going to take 2 or 3. As we saw last season with the Torrance, juggernaut, where he swept the swing. if that team comes good, and Billy also, not just Steve, but Billy, then Torrance cars are going to be tough. So, I'm 3 rounds out of number 1 spot. Of course, we got Dougie fighting for that as well. And when I step back and look at all the people that can contend for this and put my name in the middle of it, I know it's going to be a big job. So, at the end of the day, I don't think obviously no one's cleared out yet too far in the points. So if everyone can kind of maintain that distance over the next couple races, it's obviously going to put the emphasis on the last 2 races of the season with Vegas and Pomona. And each of those racetracks have their eccentricities, as you know, Doug. And some people can run really good in Vegas in that kind of altitude, and some people can really hammer down at the World Finals at Pomona. So I think we've got a mixed bag, and it's going to be one for the record books for the fans.
Okay, Richie. So you just said if it comes down to those final 2, some people are better at one than the other. So let's say it does come down to that. What is your strength with you as a driver or your team? Do you think you're going to be better at one or the other of those, or do you think you're good enough at both of those that this could be your year?
I feel like we have a great hot weather race car and a great cool weather race car right now. We're running 360s on Friday night, and we've been getting down warm racetracks as well. So I'm real confident that we've got a great package, but it's no secret that David Grubnick with of course Brittany Force's car can run low 360s at the World Finals and things like that. And you've got Alan Johnson in the mix with Mike Salinas. That's another wild card as well that can just absolutely throw down in hot or cold conditions. So for me, I just got confidence that Connie and Kurt Elliott and my CHL boys, that will get me down whatever racetrack is thrown at us. And a lot of it's going to be on me to step up to the plate and do my job on the starting line and get those wins.
Well, and that 10th win up here last weekend at Reading tied you with Connie Coletta for wins. Also tied me for Top Fuel wins, too. So you got 10 Top Fuel wins. That is awesome. And if you need help on driving, all you got to do is go to Connie, because he will tell you he has pure driving excellence. I've heard him. He's told me that before.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty impressive stat, to be up there with yourself, Doug, and, of course, Connie and everyone. I still kind of pinch myself that I get to do this, and to have double digits and a lot of really cool Wally trophies there on my mantle at home in Brownsburg, Indiana. Now it's pretty neat. But yeah, having Connie in my corner is a huge asset. But as you know, Doug, he's the guy that you don't want to get him mad at you. He'll be chasing you around and telling you all about it. So I just try to do my job, and hopefully I'll get a little better as well, and everyone's going to be happy.
Richie, what's your favorite line from Connie to you? Is there a moment that he quoted you, something he was trying to tell you how to drive, or something along those lines that just every time you think about it just makes you laugh?
There's probably a few that I shouldn't say on the air, but to be truthful, 2 of my favorite occasions have been most recently this season when we won Gainesville, and then we won this past weekend in Reading. And once I finally got to catch up with him after the run in the winner's circle, and I said, "Thanks, boss, you did a great job today." And both times he said, "It doesn't get any better than this, kid," and that sticks with me. So, and that's true. That's what it's all about. That's why everyone gets behind you and puts you in the driver's seat to go and try and win, and to do it with Connie, it doesn't get much better than that.
Well, Richie Crampton, winner last weekend at the Reading Keystone Nationals. Congratulations. Take that Coletta car and Conrad to the finals again. I'll tell you what, I was impressed going up there and watching you guys race the final against Dougie. Connie he can do his own thing sometimes, and I didn't know if there was going to be a race, and man, you guys answered that.
Yeah, for sure. It was, I think a lot of eyebrows were raised that there was no team orders, and it was a good race from start to finish. So anytime you can get around Dougie and Rob Flynn and that Matt Cool's team, you're doing a good job. But again, just a credit to my guys that were able to run 373 in the final there and go away with the trophy.
Richie, it's another great song on Frampton Comes Alive that's perfect for you going forward from here.
What is that?
Show me the way. And that's what you did. And you just keep that up, and we'll be talking to you again by the time we get to the end of the season at Pomona.
Sounds good, boys. Thanks again for having me on the show. You guys are awesome.
Hi, Richie. Good luck, buddy. Talk to you soon, and we'll be right back with more Straight Line after this.
Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up 2 5¼ ounce bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for $8. Clean and lubricate your fuel system while increasing miles per gallon with 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for $8 at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
NHRA drag racer Doug Herbert here to talk about safe driving. In early 2008, my 2 sons were killed in a car accident that was caused by speed and inexperience. After the accident, I learned that over 6,000 teenagers each year are killed in car accidents, so I formed a nonprofit organization called Brakes. Brakes stands for Be Responsible and Keep Everyone Safe. Please visit our website at putonthebrakes.org to learn more about responsible driving and what you can do to keep our roads safe.
Hi folks, Mike Bagley here. At MRN, we rely on equipment from Racing Electronics.
Joey Logano to the lead on the back straightaway.
Racing Electronics has scanners and headphones. We can listen to every uncensored conversation between driver and crew.
You won the championship, baby, yeah!
And when we need live audio, in-car cameras, and up-to-the-second statistics, we use their latest handheld unit called Legend. To learn more about these products and many others, visit racingelectronics.com. Racing Electronics, the official two-way communication partner of MRN.
And we are back with more of MRN's The Straight Line presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. So we're going to get right into red light, green light. And we kind of brought this up, the red light.
Well, we talked about it last week.
Yeah, we did.
Was
and
Torrance,
kind of hinted about it.
Yep. Was Torrance on a roll, or I thought, no, they're not. They're testing. They're trying something. Well, I don't know.
And I was thinking maybe he's in a slump.
Maybe they are. We don't know. I mean, what?
Yeah, but he went out. Steve went out early, and Billy went out as well. What do you think?
Well, you know,
are you nervous yet if you're in that camp?
Well, you got to be nervous. I mean, every race last year they won all the countdown races, and this year they haven't won. They haven't won. I don't know. We talked about it, right? Since Sonoma,
right?
Well, actually,
so West Coast Swing was
West Coast Swing, but that was only Billy. That wasn't Steve. So
yeah,
it's definitely a red light. I mean, you go into the countdown, you've got the utmost confidence. Your team. I mean, what you've been doing, and then all of a sudden, man, both cars go out first round. Yeah, it's a red light for sure.
Yeah, Steve is 47 points back right now?
Which is nothing, really. I mean, that's, a couple rounds you can make up in qualifying. But it just depends. Are they really struggling, or they've just had some little gremlins? I don't know. I would still think with as good as they've been over the last couple of years,
you're still confident.
They've just got a couple little gremlins. I can't believe that they're in a slump. You wouldn't. It seems like we had Steve on the program a while back, and I was talking about clutch discs and something.
Yeah.
He said, we've got enough clutch discs around like 5 years with what we have. Because what I'm seeing now, the only way you can get in a slump is something changes. Like all of a sudden this part changes that you can't get anymore. And I don't know that that's the problem with them. At least, when we talked to them before.
Yeah. And look, every sports team that wins multiple championships, they don't win them all the same way. So I'm not panicked yet, but how deep do you go? Is it just after this next race in St. Louis? And if, let's say, he goes out in the first round again, does it start to murmur inside the crew? And then then it starts
first
to
round,
to unravel.
2 or 3 races in the countdown, and it's going to be very tough to catch up. Now, don't forget, you go to Pomona, and it's 1.5 points, so that means a lot
you
more.
Can get a lot back.
But still, you lose every race going into Pomona first round, and you're done before you even get there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, with as good as they were, I just find it hard to believe that Richard Hogan and Bobby Lagana and those guys are just lost. I just can't imagine that being the case. But, hey.
You kind of get into that overreaction Monday, right? Of the first week of the season, and you go, "Oh, those guys look bad." And
no matter what, you open up the NHRA.com, and there's the point standings, and you're not number one in the point standings. You got to go, "Oh boy, I don't know." And then on the other hand, Doug Coletta, runner-up, won the last race, runner-up at this race, leading the points. Well, they got some momentum there.
The reason why I think you can't panic just yet if you're Steve is because, like you said, if he gets on a roll, he can win them all from here.
Right.
And then it just doesn't matter.
We've seen him do that before.
He's done it more than once. Right?
So, yeah, I don't think it's anything to worry about going into, we'll see what happens going into St. Louis. If they go out first round again, then it might be time to think, man, I don't know, maybe there is something wrong. But you know what? Next week coming in, I'll analyze what all of their runs were during qualifying, and then we'll see. Are they really having a problem, or did just something happen when they got beat?
Here's hoping you have a lot of runs to look at, right?
Go,
now,
exactly.
on the green light side, the flip side of that, how about old 151 over there?
Man, John Force.
He suddenly has got some speed in him. He might be going championship 17.
I wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Not at all.
It wouldn't surprise me a bit. John Force doesn't slow down a bit. He hasn't won 151 races because he just sits around and looks at his trophies, you know.
Right.
I mean, he is serious. He lives, sleeps, eats, breathes, he nothing goes through his mind except drag racing. That's the way John Force is.
He's 19 points behind Jack Beckman. And the worst thing you could do right now, if you're anybody else in this field, is give him a chance.
Exactly right.
Right? You give him a sniff of this title, and he's going to be just a bull in a china shop going for it.
That's exactly right.
So now let's get you excited about going to some races and tell you about how you can get tickets to the next upcoming events. All you have to do is go to NHRA.com, click on that red ticket tab in that top right corner, and order up some tickets for any of these upcoming events, like this next one coming up at the Midwest Nationals, the AAA Insurance Midwest Nationals, what is known as the old Gateway Worldwide Technologies Raceway now is what they're calling it.
That's
over there
mouthful.
in St. Louis. It is, but they're an exciting group of people involved with that racetrack, and it's going to be a huge weekend there.
It will be a big weekend. If you are anywhere near the center of the country, don't miss the Madison, Illinois, basically St. Louis race over at the new Worldwide Technology of Racing Motorsports. Oh my gosh, that's a long name. And then coming up here before too long, we're going to have the races in Concord, North Carolina at ZMAX Dragway, followed up with the race down in Dallas, or just outside of Dallas and Ennis, at Billy Meyer Motorplex.
Yeah, Texas Motorplex. That's always a big one, right?
That's always a big one.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of great racing action. And, of course, as you heard throughout the show today, a lot of interesting stories to follow. If you had to pick one going in to St. Louis, which one are you most interested in? What happens with Torrance? Can Beckman keep it going? Is Force for real? What are you following?
There's a lot of stories right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
there
really is a lot of stories. You got to pick one. I would say John Force.
I would take the Torrance story.
Yeah, Torrance.
I don't think you can go wrong with either one.
Can go wrong with either one. Those are good stories. I mean, John Force wins another championship. I mean, the guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see him win the championship and go out. He's Muhammad Ali. Goes out on top.
Yeah, unbelievable. Countdown. It's underway. We're going to be talking about it right along with you right here on The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. For Doug, I'm Ralph. So long. Enjoy the races.